Hello, friends. On this glorious day in drink history, a vagabond I have become once again, reporting to you from the road in the City of Angels, where I've done some spectacular interviews and soaked up as much of the city's cocktail culture as I can. Los Angeles will always be a special place for me because it's where I officially began my career as a beverage professional more than 10 years ago, and to see how much the drink culture has evolved in this fine city is incredible, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. In other news, no injuries have been sustained on this adventure as of yet, though we did get booted out of our original rental house for having too much futuristic production equipment, forcing us to leave the magnificent views of the Hollywood Hills to accept more modest accommodations and take refuge in a whimsical place called Culver City. Well, it's not very whimsical at all, feeling like a Tarantino movie minus the witty dialogue and cool characters, but it's situated as near some of the newer cocktail developments in LA's West Side, and we'll share those conversations in the coming weeks. Let's do this. Today's episode of the Educational Drinking Show is sponsored by Old Potrero Rye Whiskey. Pot distilled from 100% malted rye, this delicious whiskey marked the return of pot distilled rye to the United States in 1993 and was another pioneering achievement by the great Fritz Maytag. Keep an eye out for the 18th century expression of Old Potrero, as it's unique in that it is aged in toasted barrels, as would have been done in the 18th century rather than the common charred barrels of today. Good stuff. My guest today is Lisa Fetterman, and she is CEO of Nomiku, which manufactures affordable sous vide immersion circulator machines for home use. Response for Ms. Fetterman's machinery has been strong, raising well over $1 million on Kickstarter for the first two versions of her machine. Her work has received extensive media coverage and won numerous awards, including Forbes 30 Under 30, Zagat 30 Under 30, and San Francisco Business Times 40 Under 40, which is where I first crossed paths with her, and I was immediately struck by her enthusiasm and passion. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to share with you my conversation with Lisa Fetterman. What do you make, and why should bartenders care?
I make Nomiku. It's the first ever home sous vide immersion circulator. It's this very compact and small, powerful sous vide machine that you can have behind your bar, so there's no danger of open flame when you infuse things. And bartenders should care because it helps them make the most delicious drinks of their dreams with any flavors that they like.
All right, so slow down. What does sous vide mean?
Sous vide literally translates to under vacuum in French, but the method itself, what my machine does is circulate the water to a precise temperature and heats it.
I think you could make the argument that on this hot San Francisco day, minus the water, we are sous videing ourselves in the studio.
Slowly. Low and slow is the way to go.
So why does this method, why is it so unique as a preparation method for cooking and preparing food?
The uniqueness of it is that, if you think about the nexus between food and technology, the biggest one was when we discovered fire. And ever since then, we've just been trying to control it, either with a fancy stove or a copper pot, anything that we can think of for even heating. Heat is the secret ingredient in the kitchen, and now we can control heat to 0.1 degrees Celsius, and that's incredibly powerful.
What are some of the common items that you prepare in your machine?
Well, when it comes to the alks, I love to turn vodka into my own blend of gin. So I just take the botanicals that are in season. So summer, it'll be lavender. Of course, you just put the juniper berries in, and then you can make your own gin. I mean, it's not a true gin, but back when we were distilling vodka, the vodka houses would still make their own gin because it's just about adding the botanicals in.
So what about this process is different than just putting alcohol and whatever you want to infuse into a jar on the counter?
It's much faster and much more precise. You don't get a lot of the bitterness that you would from if you infuse it for too long. It's an exact science. So what if you needed a flavored alcohol just like in 90 seconds? You can do that with the sous vide machine. With
No way.
Mm-hmm.
You can really do it in 90 seconds.
In 90 seconds, I can turn vodka to gin.
Wow. But isn't the whole idea for it to cook slowly?
You can use certain temperatures to accelerate the process, but it's still gentle enough that it doesn't disrupt the alcohol.
So if speed isn't a factor, if you're trying to do an alcohol infusion, what's the ideal length of time to give yourself?
The ideal length of time, a lot of recipes vary. And I think aromatics, where I tasted the best, was 4 hours.
Okay.
That's still a fraction of what it takes to really infuse if you're just doing it the traditional method.
Mm-hmm. And what temperatures are you aiming for doing infusions?
Like 60. There's some that are 50. The 90-second gin is like 80.
Wow.
But it's all below 100 degrees Celsius. So this is all Celsius.
Okay. Why Celsius? You want to confuse me, right?
Celsius because actually it's easier for liquids if we're talking about the liquid side, because 100 degrees Celsius is when water starts to boil.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good measure for people who are in mixology, in bartending.
Are you seeing a lot of sous vide technology being used at bars currently commercially?
I see it every day. Like Alta in San Francisco does it. I think the majority of their cocktails are sous vide. Plum Bar in Oakland does it. In New York, Bethany does it. At Saison does it a lot. And they use our latest Wi-Fi Nomiku. So you can go to the Saison bar and check it out.
Okay. Why is it Wi-Fi?
It's Wi-Fi connected because sous vide is such a new method of cooking. There's new times and temperatures. It's not like, baking where the people who are in the industry know that it's like, 350 for 15 minutes for chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Like we kind of have a sense of how hot the oven should be, but we really don't know yet all the times and temperatures for sous vide. And it's Wi-Fi connected so that you can open up your app. My app is called Tender. It's the largest sous vide community. There's lots of alcoholic drinks on it. Yes, it's a Tender that your significant other won't mind is on your phone because it means you're making delicious cocktails. So you open it and then it connects to the machine from anywhere in the world, so you can buzz the recipe to your machine.
Wow. So beyond your machine, or I guess before your machine, was sous vide being used in cocktails a lot in bars commercially that you saw?
Very rarely. It was only super upscale, like 3 Michelin stars.
Yeah.
Or I definitely saw it in Michelin restaurants. It was quite popular, but those machines back in the day, they were thousands of dollars, and they were this huge hulking piece of laboratory equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Now mine is $199.
$199?
Yeah.
So less than an Xbox.
Correct.
Okay, so for folks that are unaware, can you talk me through your machine, kind of the look of it, the operation of it, the design of it?
So this is actually the second thing that we've shipped. Our first one was a Nomiku Classic. We invented the category of home sous vide immersion circulators in 2012. It clips onto any pot that you already own. So any vessel, it can be a Cambro, it can be a beaker, and you just have it go as long as it's, heat safe. And then our second product, the Wi-Fi Nomiku, clips onto the front of the pot, so you don't reach over the pot to operate it. And it's still the same thing. It's portable, it's easy to take with you anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Very
good,
cool.
Very good for mixology competitions.
And as I understand it, you manufacture right here in San Francisco, much like us here at Anchor.
Yes, we do. Actually, for our first product, the Nomiku Classic, we manufactured in Guangzhou. And we spent 2 years there next to our factory learning how to manufacture, and we brought it back to San Francisco for our Wi-Fi one.
Wow. And I'm guessing the technology played a role in that?
Yes. A lot of things about manufacturing is that when you manufacturer in Asia, they're really good at the waterfall method of manufacturing. And what that means is that they're very, very good at copying. And that's not a knock on them. It's actually a very sophisticated process. But when you make a new product that the world has never seen before, much like a new beer, you need to pay special attention and iterate constantly, constantly taste, constantly, the creative process is not so much unlike when it comes to manufacturing. So for our first few thousand units, there must be a lot of iteration, and being somewhere where there's waterfall manufacturing just doesn't allow that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had to move it to the Bay Area for our first few thousand units. It's just the only way that we could iterate.
Would you say that infusion is the most common use for this behind the bar?
I think so. Also, actually, people have started making their own beer.
Really?
With the Nomiku. Mm-hmm. We have a blog post on it.
How does that work?
Some people stick the Nomiku inside the whole beer vat to control the temperature.
Oh, wow.
So I don't recommend that, because I think that you should only circulate water with our machine.
Mm-hmm.
People who do that do violate our warranty. But it's a case by case. I think it's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. I can't imagine the vessels are very big.
Right. So it's for true home small batch. And you can use like a giant mason jar and have water circulate around it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few ways.
I have to think there's an application for this with garnishes for cocktails.
Absolutely.
Tell me more.
Ooh, okay. Well, with garnishes, when you're talking about fruits or you're talking about citrus peels, the thing about it is that with pears, when you vacuum...
You get so excited when food enters the conversation. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm really into it.
Go on.
So when pears are sous vide, you can, sous vide pears at a low temperature for like 12 hours. And what winds up happening is that they cook in their own juices. And they get so custardy. You just swoop your spoon like that, and it just wiggles on there. You eat it. It's so heavenly. So like any fruits garnish, you can play around, and it completely changes it into this otherworldly texture you can't get any other way.
What is the resulting texture of, say, a sous vide pear?
Oh, a sous vide pear depends on how long you do it, but I like it to be like custard level.
Yeah?
Yeah, but not like breaking apart.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What
it stays firm.
What are some of the other things that you see being sous vide as garnishes?
That I see being sous vide as garnishes. I see there's a cocktail that our chef made with pandan.
Whoa.
That was fantastic.
And for folks that don't know, what is pandan?
Pandan is Asian Pacific Islands vanilla.
Okay.
Basically, it's this large green leaf, and it gives off this sweet steamed rice taste.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very unique and comforting flavor.
What about beyond fruits? What are you seeing in terms of garnishes?
Beyond fruits, I guess it's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
People surprise me every freaking day with this machine. There's the cheesemonger at 11 Madison Park. He's created 48 new cheeses that the world has never seen before with his Nomiku. Yeah, because you can control the temperature so well and control how certain bacteria live and certain bacteria die. It's sweet. He's like cheese god.
I have to think in the world of savory cocktails, most notably like a Bloody Mary, there's quite a few applications for having fun with garnishes with something like this.
Oh, I think so. Bloody Mary, I think people are one-upping each other right now with what they garnish their Bloody Marys with. You can garnish your Bloody Mary with a filigree of steak. Line the freaking glass with some steak tartare that's already been pasteurized via sous vide. Sounds good to me.
So, how did you get going on this journey? Where did the Nomiku whole story start?
Well, I was obsessed with chefs, with food in general. Like when I first came to the States, nobody really liked me because I didn't know you were supposed to change your clothes every day. In my hometown, in China, we would wash our clothes once a week. So why do you change your clothes? And I developed a reputation. One day somebody kind came over to my house and I served her a 1,000-year-old egg. She ate it, she didn't talk. I went to school the next day fearing for my life. people started crowding around me, and they said, Lisa, can you bring us to your house to eat weird food? I was like, whoa. Yeah, and internalized for me pretty early that food really connects people, and I can be that catalyst between people feeling good and food. So I was obsessed. You know, when I was a teenager, I would call like Jean-Georges and restaurants with a 212 number and a Michelin star like Danielle, and just listen to how they picked up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like a stalker or something. Eventually I got my chance to work there. I worked at Jean-Georges or Babo, and all these fine dining restaurants where you can stage. I mean, this is a restaurant crowd. They know what staging means, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just moved around, and I saw that every single top kitchen had this huge hulking piece of laboratory equipment.
Did you have a culinary background, like professionally?
No, my background is in journalism. I was an editor at Hearst and at Smith Magazine.
Okay.
That was my big girl job.
So why did they let you into the kitchen?
Oh, because what happened first was at Babo. I begged for a job in Italian, and they let me have a job on the spot. I mean, I paid $12 an hour. So. Can
you beg for something Italian now?
Beg for something Italian now. Yeah. What should I beg for? Aiutami sous vide.
Whoa. So you start staging. What happens next?
I just see these machines all over the place. These huge hulking pieces of laboratory equipment. And we would cook a lot of our components through it because it would cook perfectly. I became obsessed. I was saving up money for one so I could test it, you know. Mm-hmm. And I told a date that I went on, who's now actually my co-founder, husband, and baby daddy.
Whoa.
Yeah, I told him that I was saving up money for one. He said, I could just make one for you. He has his
one of those guys.
Yeah, he has his PhD in plasma physics, astrophysics from Princeton. So he's less than 10 people graduate from that program annually. Before that, he went for physics at Caltech. And he made one for me. It was great.
Wow. And you said there's an opportunity here.
Kind of. We shared it with all of our chef friends, and we went to makerspaces to make DIY open source sous vide kits, and that was kind of like our weekend activity, going from makerspace to makerspace around the United States.
When was this?
This was in 2011.
Okay.
And we sold hundreds of these kits. We actually got invited to the first ever White House Maker Fair.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I gave a keynote speech at the tech shop there.
Wow.
And then, after we sold all these kits, people came up to us and they were like, why don't you just make it plug into the wall? Just make the real appliance. Mm-hmm. And we looked at each other, we're like, it's like now or never, because I'm sure this idea has been floating around people's minds that people should have home sous vide machines. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go to China. So we did. We made our prototype. We came back 1 week before our wedding. We begged our wedding videographers, like, please, can you help us make a Kickstarter video? We put it up on Kickstarter, and it becomes the #1 most funded project at the time. To date, we've raised $1.3 million on Kickstarter from 2 projects.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's true. It's a lot of responsibility, definitely.
Man. So a lot of people got sweet Nomiku machines for their funding support, huh?
Mm-hmm. And they were, they're so patient and wonderful.
Yeah.
For being on the journey with us, because it's definitely not an easy one.
Mm-hmm. How do folks buy it today?
They go on Nomiku.com.
Yeah.
We have quite a back order at the moment, but we're going through it steadily.
It's a good problem to have, I guess, in the pantheon of problems.
I think so. All problems are real problems.
Yeah.
But we're very fortunate to have that people have interest in Nomiku.
Do people that buy this for home use, is there much of a learning curve to it, or is it something that they can dive into pretty quickly and start using right away?
There was a learning curve. There was a huge learning curve when we shipped Nomiku Classic. Mm-hmm. You can't imagine like the countless phone calls I got on my cell phone from people. I mean, I put my mobile number on the website. We shipped 8,000 units, so it was like off the hook all the time. My number's no longer on there.
Oh.
But you can still email us. There was a huge learning curve. That's why with our second one, we made it Wi-Fi connected to an app. And the app basically is me as software.
Whoa.
I used to just go into people's homes if they were in San Francisco and help them make their first cook.
What are some of the items that people typically start out with as their first item?
Steak. 57 degrees Celsius. They put it in the Ziploc bag, dip it in the water up to the steel so the barometric pressure will push out all the air, and then leave it in there for like 2 hours, and you get a perfectly medium rare steak. At 57 degrees Celsius, the fat and the collagen melts into the muscle, effectively marbling it. You can make an NY strip steak taste like Wagyu. It's so good.
Whoa. Your eyes just rolled back into your head.
I'm really hungry now, actually.
Good thing you got a mug of water there.
Yeah, we were going to use whiskey, right? But that never turns out for us.
No, it would get crazy very quickly. So they start out with the steak. They have a glorious experience. Where do folks tend to go from there?
Another great thing is fish, because it's only 20 minutes, and it produces this like jewel-toned, silky texture that is really hard to accomplish any other way.
Yeah.
Borderline impossible. Unless you're Eric Repair.
Yeah.
And I'm sure even then, I'm sure even he sous vide some of his fish. Maybe.
Yeah. It's crazy because, I mean, when did sous vide really come onto the scene, at least the culinary scene, in a big way?
In a big way?
Mm-hmm.
It's always been underneath the radar. Even now we're under the radar. I'm sure this is the first time a lot of people have heard of Nomiku.
Mm-hmm.
We've been, we don't advertise, it's just all word of mouth and PR.
I have to think that this has made quite an impact on the home culinary experience, right?
I like to think so. This has, what I'm really, really happy about is that we created a machine ultimately that helps people be more creative.
Mm-hmm.
The majority, I was thinking that the majority of people who bought Nomikus would be like super food nuts, and gadget hounds. But the truth is, like, a large chunk of people are people who are scared to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And they use my sous vide machine because it's foolproof.
Yeah.
You literally cannot overcook something. It's very liberating. Then you're just free to create flavors and like mix soy sauce together with sesame oil for the first time.
Are there other benefits to it other than, whatever's inside the bag, but in terms of prep time and prepping ahead, or maybe prepping something, cooking something, and then storing it because it's already in a bag? How does all that work?
Yeah, I think you are just basically going through the steps of my Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of time to cook. And what it is, on Sunday, I'll batch cook a meal for the rest of the week. And I can do it sous vide in my Nomiku.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll freeze it. And it retherms beautifully.
Really?
Yes, because it slowly dissolves the ice crystals. And food that is cooked first and not raw frozen, a lot of the water escapes the food, so that when you freeze it, it doesn't puncture the cells as much. The water doesn't like explode the cells when the water expands.
Wow. So for bartenders out there, they could have a prep day, prep a ton of stuff for however long, and then just defrost or bring back up to temp as necessary.
They don't even need to bring it back up to temp. I think they would just cook it in the Nomiku and then chill it.
Okay.
And then use it as needed.
Man. So there's a huge application for this for bartenders, it sounds like.
It is huge. It is huge. And I keep seeing bars now that, are edgy. They're not necessarily like stuffy Michelin restaurants that have flexibility with equipment. There are people who this is their first restaurant and they can play with things like this.
And it doesn't even need to go on the stovetop.
That's right. It never goes. There's no open flame, so you can have it running all night, even as you're bartending. Man, what other beverages has this impacted? Like, does tea have an application with this, or coffee, or anything of that nature? I think it can. Definitely. It's not exactly the way that I prefer to make coffee or tea, and I'm trying to sell this.
Yeah.
I think it would be great for a coffee infusion of an alcohol or a tea infusion of an alcohol without having too much tannins or like bitterness escape from those from tea or coffee.
What does the future of sous vide world look like in your estimation?
I mean, we're inventing it right now.
Yeah.
Everybody who has a sous vide machine, they are the pioneers in their kitchen. We have definitely set recipes. Actually, I have a cookbook coming out.
Really?
Yeah, called Sous Vide at Home.
It's a great name.
Thank you. With 10-speed press.
Nice.
Penguin Random.
They do a great job.
Mm-hmm. So we did that, and that's part of that is of how I see the future of sous vide.
Mm-hmm.
So the future of sous vide looks like this. Everybody at home has one because it's temperature control technology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it not being accepted in homes because heat is a secret ingredient
Yeah.
in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make so many wonderful things just by yourself. Just like you can make yogurt,
Really?
which is one of my favorite things. It's like an easy hack. What I do is I put the milk of my choice. It can be sheep's milk or goat milk into a mason jar and 1 scoop of my favorite yogurt, 2 scoops of my favorite yogurt. Just leave it overnight. In the morning, it's yogurt. Those bacteria have consumed the rest of the dairy.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Sure.
Can you cook bacon in it?
You absolutely can cook bacon in it.
Really?
Yes, I would definitely sear it afterwards, though.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite way to cook bacon,
Oh, okay.
but it is my favorite way to cook pork butt.
Yeah?
Or like, what's that?
Pork belly?
Pork belly.
Yeah.
Pork belly. It's my favorite
Yeah.
way to cook pork belly
Yeah.
because it extracts all of the fat.
Yeah.
So all you get is that pure, delicious, like, rich taste without the mealiness or like the after effects of like just having like only cupcake frosting. You know, that one time when you eat frosting just straight up, you're just like, no. That removes that feeling and any too unctuous of a texture.
And in cocktails, there's been some experimentation of even like a barrel-aged cocktail. Well, they'll make a big batch, put it in a barrel, and let it integrate over time. Do you see sous vide technology perhaps playing a role in the integration of a cocktail?
You know what's interesting? There is this company that sent me some planks.
Yeah.
For me to sous vide with, so that it infuses the wood flavor inside of salmon, inside of chicken. I don't see how it wouldn't be good for alcohol.
Man.
And fast age it, or just like do a hack where it tastes like basically the same.
If there are bartenders out there that have an interest in this and they say, hey, that unit sounds perfect for us in our bar, and they want to learn more about techniques that have already been developed, how other folks are using it, is there an opportunity to do that?
Oh, absolutely. You can go on our website, nomiku.com. We have a blog that documents a lot of that, and we have our app called Tender. You can just search Nomiku in your iOS or Android and download it. We have over 1,000 recipes on it, and the community is contributing daily, so you can find definitely a lot of fun cocktails on there.
Yeah, and a lot of those folks are bartenders, it sounds like.
That's right.
Man, that's so cool. That's so and I can't believe people are using it that much already behind bars commercially.
Yeah, it's pretty prevalent. We're all better for it as consumers and creators.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Beyond sous vide, what do you like to drink? What's your drinking scene like?
Oh, what's my drinking scene? I drink just about everything.
You drink everything?
Yeah, I love wine. I love vodka. I love scotch. When I get desperate in my house, I'll drink my cooking sake.
That sounds. Yeah, I guess it would work.
It's like, the sake bottle that is unfiltered that you just buy for like making your teriyaki or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
And what kind of batch sizes are we talking about capable with your machine?
So it circulates water up to 5 gallons. So that's like a huge Cambro. You can go ham.
Really?
Yeah, you can do your entire service.
So you have the amount of water circulating, and then is it a special bag that is used?
You can use your vacuum packer. You probably have one in your kitchen if you can, elbow the Grand Manger away from it.
Yeah.
so that's always great because the compression is also good for the ingredients when you want to infuse. Obviously, I think a lot of people out there know that. They might already compress a lot of their ingredients already with a vacuum sealer. But for people who don't have that, because it is also thousands of dollars, a freezer Ziploc bag works just great. Yeah, because it's like a thicker plastic.
And if people are doing infusions working with liquid, what can they expect to be able to do in terms of a batch of liquid at a time?
As many bags as you can fit in a 5-gallon container.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah.
So you can do quite a bit.
I would start with warm water.
Yeah.
In the bath, so you don't circulate the liquid directly. You circulate only water and heat the water to a precise temperature, and your alcohols are in a Ziploc bag.
Cool. Thank you so much for hanging out and coming by. This is such an innovative kind of space within bartending culture, and I'm so encouraged to hear that people are utilizing it, and so inspired to see the success that you've had in such a short amount of time. And I mean, again, just making a dent in the space-time continuum of people's home culinary adventures.
Well, thank you. If people who are the majority of your audience, you say, are bartending professionals. Okay, well, in that case, we do have a professional discount. It's NOMBOSS, all caps, NOMBOSS. That's my personal discount code for people in the industry, because I know that feel.
Oh.
I think everybody in the industry deserves a discount. I think everybody in the industry shouldn't pay taxes. People grind like crazy in the restaurant. I couldn't believe it the first time I worked at a restaurant. I was like, you mean you just stand and chop things for 6 hours nonstop? So there's my way of giving back. Holla.
So you're a people's champion.
Definitely.
High five for that.
Let's go, makers.
Yeah, let's do it. And you're my neighbor, so
yeah, word.
Maybe we will cross paths again, and next time we can get our hands dirty and do a little sous vide ourselves.
Sous vide sangria.
Boo-yah.
Kasha.